I'd like to call the Village of North Fond du Lac Board of Trustees meeting to order Monday, May 4th. Due to the state of emergency related to COVID-19, the village will have limited seating at the board meeting. In addition to the board meeting being available on cable channel 980, you are also able to dial in and listen or speak through the phone. If you'd like to call in, please dial 920-322-6120 between 5:45 and 5:55 on the day of the meeting. All right, roll call of officers.
Morning.
Here.
Price.
Here.
Streeter.
Here.
Duffy.
Here.
Will.
Here.
Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, announcements. We have just one announcement for Rob Ott, celebrating 5 years. Man, that went fast. It's like yesterday, we just hired him, you know? And
That is today.
and he's working out really well, and I know he's helped out. I know Darren, well, both Darrens are happy with him when we have like a squad go down. It's something that he can take care of, you know, when he gets a vehicle back on the road. So congratulations to Rob. And one other thing, just wanted to officially welcome John to his first meeting back. And let's see, all right, moving down to president's reports and staff reports. Nick?
Yep. My piece of paper. Last week, it's kind of that time of year that a lot of the Department of Revenue reports are due. The one I just submitted last week was the expenditure restraint application. If you recall, if you keep your expenditures from year to year under a certain percentage by the state's guidelines, ours worked out to calculate to 1.9% for 2019. So when I submitted that report, it came out to 1.89% or 1.88%, so we were just under that limit, so therefore we will get the expenditure restraint, which is around $45,000 of money that we'll receive then this year, which helps offset some expenses. It just seems like IT keeps me busy lately, on and on. We had a compromise of our system last week. Somebody got into that. There's these programs out there that just constantly are trying to figure out passwords. It's an automated program, and somebody must have figured it out, and then they tried to get into a bunch of other accounts, which was protected well by our system, our SentinelOne system. However, we had to go through and check some things. It wasn't as elaborate as the last time, but we had to go through then. It was our RMM suggestion to increase our password characters and the number of different rules associated with that, so we went ahead and did that, and all the staff did that. I need to do the board yet, so I will basically be changing your password and sending you a new password link. That was not as critical as the employees that are able to log into our system here, so I'll get that to you. So I will probably be reaching out to text, because once I change it, you're not going to be able to get in, obviously, so I can't email you if you don't check it in the meantime. So I'll be texting you. I think I have everybody's cell phone, maybe except yours, Ann, but is that what's on here?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll be doing that probably this week sometime. I also met with RMM this week to talk about our backup system. When we went through that whole breach earlier or it was late last year, I guess, you know, we tweaked our backup system a little bit, but we still probably need to tweak the way, and what I mean by that is when we do our backups, it's saved basically 7 backups, and then you're doing a backup every 7 days. So we just had to talk through that discussion to figure out what we really want to have backed up. So we're going to tweak that a little bit. Also, we did meet with the painter. We took quotes last year, I think 3 or 4 quotes for painting the pool building, and that money is being used for that is money from the Oriole Open. That gets donated to the pool. We met with him last week out at the site to kind of talk about colors and that. We're going to really liven up the back side that faces the pool with a bunch of primary colors and change the look. But the front side will get changed. The look will change. It just might not be as lively and colorful. It'll maybe be a dark blue and a gray. But just to paint everything there, it looks a little dated with the colors. So that work should start sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks. As long as I'm talking about that while we were there, the people plastering the pool were there. They're going to start plastering as soon as the weather. They got a lot of the prep work done, and then when the the weather has to be, I forget, above 40 or 50 degrees at night. For them to start doing that, they'll start doing that soon. And then so that both the baby pool and the pool itself will have a complete new plaster surface on them, which I think the last time it was done was about 17 years ago. Also, I had mentioned about attending a kind of emergency destination Lake Winnebago region meeting last week, which is formerly the CVB, Convention and Visitor Bureau. They, obviously, that hospitality industry has been hit very, very significantly with hotel rooms not being taken out right now, and then the announcement of like EAA being canceled is a huge detriment to that industry. So the destination Lake Winnebago is really struggling with their funds. Their funding is completely paid for through room tax. So we had kind of emergency meeting called last week, and we authorized, the executive board authorized them to borrow some money out of their emergency fund from the sale of the building that they used to be in, along with taking out a loan to operate for some time here. So that's about all I have at this time.
Anything else for any other department, or?
No.
Okay. All right. Moving down to the consent agenda, approve the minutes of the following village board meeting from 4/20/2020, and approve invoices and authorized checks to be drawn on the respective funds as indicated. General fund, $22,904. EMS fund, $894.40. Capital projects, $3,672.88. Water department, $9,457.07. Wastewater department, $261,514.54. Stormwater fund, $739.70. Community Development Authority TIF, $3,431.30, for a grand total of $302,613.89. And also approve the following operator license for Patricia Peck for Charlie's. What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Can I get a second, please?
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion by Will, second by Price to approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions on any of the?
I just got a quick question on page 2, the gear. I mean, they're under new leadership. Did we always get those dumping charges before? I mean, I know they closed that site up along the highway there, and
Yep.
I don't remember seeing the dumping charges.
Yeah, we've always been charged those dumping charges for getting rid of concrete and different things.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
John?
Same page.
Yep.
Same page, Nick. The city, I know sewer, we own some of that. How long is that, how long do we continue to pay that? Is there a
The-
date that it expires that we stop paying?
So this is just for the treatment.
Just treatment?
This bill is for the treatment. I'm glad you asked, because I was gonna bring this up during my weekly report and I forgot. But as far as the payments for the treatment plant that we pay every year, which is $317,000 annually, that I believe is 2025, through 2025. This payment, though, this $260,000, we budget, if you recall, and I think even this last year, I might have even said that we're going to see this higher than we budget some years. We budget like $400,000 every year for treatment. And most years we get a true up and we end up underneath that cost. Well, this year, our true up was $160,000 more. So normally we get a credit. This year we got $160,000 more. So this 260 should, like our quarterly charge is actually $98,000. So that $260,000, this year you're gonna see 400 plus the 160, so about $560,000 on a $400,000 budget in there. But as I mentioned, some years were $230,000 in a $400,000 budget. It fluctuates. So last year, if you recall, the spring was extremely wet and the fall was extremely wet. If you recall, I always related to the farming, but the farmers couldn't get the fields planted, and then they also couldn't harvest them in the fall. It was so wet both spring and fall. So not a surprise to see that. Maybe surprised that it's that much, but I'm glad you asked about that.
Anything else, John? Okay. Any other questions or comments on this? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Administrative discussion and update on COVID-19 and village operations.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to report that, haven't reported the last few weeks, except for the fact that maybe, with this opening back up, so to speak, and the steps that are included in that Badger Bounce Back Plan. And, you know, I know that the numbers in the state have been increasing, so I don't know where how that's gonna all come together. But my plan internally here was over the next 2 weeks after this next week, so prior to Memorial Day. Memorial Day originally was the day that it was, the state safer at home order was coming to an end. My plan was, I do have, I mentioned about 10 employees intermittently working from home. Our front office staff are kind of working 2 to 3 days a week here and then 2 to 3 days at home. My plan is over the next 2 weeks after next week, prior to Memorial Day, is having, kind of building up to that and being back close to full-time, everybody being here the day after, so May 26th. We'll just have to kind of see how this all plays out, though. That was my original plan based on the safer at home order maybe coming to an end near that May 26th date. If it extends out further, you know, in social distancing and we're, you know, they want us to keep people working from home, that's kind of part of it. We'll have to reassess, but that is the current plan right now. The library is doing more now. You've seen in the weekly report, they are doing curbside pickup and they're getting some orders in and stuff, so they're picking up there. Everything else kind of remains the same at this point. We've had a number, I mean, the mail is, we had a ton of payments. The quarterlies just went out, the quarterly bills for utilities just went out, so the payments are, you know, people are adapting, and we've only had, you know, 1 or 2 people that have had questions or concerns about that, and we've dealt with those. But, you know, plus side of it is maybe more people will experience the online payments, which is, you know, it's an easier way to do it. You don't have to travel, and maybe they'll stay on that in the future, so that'll help too. So, we did absorb the credit card fees for all of our online payments, and the report, we just got the report, it was about $280 for the month of April that the village ended up paying for, so to speak, so I didn't think that was too bad.
Anybody have any questions for Nick regarding this item?
I guess I'm gonna ask, I mean, you spurred my thought, Mike, but with transports not being as busy, are we having all those people on site? Are we
Yeah.
continue to have everybody here?
We
Because
are,
of-
I've talked to Jake about the possibility of segregating those 2 ambulances. They've talked to actually different municipalities about staging at one of the other stations if there was a problem here. They haven't felt the need to do that yet, but they have a plan.
Okay,
If you want more information, I'd have to refer to Jake on that.
okay. I mean, I'm just kinda curious how, I mean, I understood the trips of, I mean, there hasn't been as many trips, right?
There hasn't been as many transports as there was, because, you know, some of these elective surgeries aren't happening now, so that's, you know, some of those transports are for things like that. But they have had still a stream of them, but, yeah, much slower than, it was doing very well for the first two months of the year, and then it's definitely gone down.
Okay, thank you.
Chuck?
How much longer are we going to be absorbing the credit card charges?
We have no idea.
Okay.
It's, you know, right now, we're required to. There is no end date to that, so to speak. But, and we also, the payment plans. We've talked about doing that in the past without this happening, of just absorbing those credit card fees, because we want to encourage that
Yes.
payment online. So that's something we've talked about internally, that at some point when we get towards the end of this, we may bring that to the board and just talk about it and see what the numbers look like. It's kind of a nice test right now to see what the numbers look like and what revenues we may see because of it. Because, you know, there's people that are paying online that maybe weren't paying before.
Sure.
And were late payments and things like that, so.
One other question, when Pete still goes out and does on-site inspections, what is he doing for this?
So we're only doing new construction. We're not going into existing homes for remodels and that, and so he's doing a lot of pictures. If the electrician calls for an inspection, he'll have them take pictures. The liability's still on the electrician if something's wrong, no matter what. I mean, sometimes, there's some communities that don't get to every inspection, and it's still a liability falls on the contractor. But, so, all the new buildings he's able to do if he's outside and staying away from people during any remodeling in existing homes, so to speak, where there's people living, we're not doing those right now. We're just doing it via pictures.
Sure, thanks.
Anybody else?
Just to add to that, though, I will say that there's definitely a lot more projects going on right now, and people being home, there's a lot of permits being pulled.
Mhm.
All right. Anybody else have any questions for Nick? All right, seeing none. Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Moving down to resolutions, discussion and possible action on resolution 10-2020, a resolution designating National Peace Officer Memorial Day and National Peace Week in the Village of North Fond du Lac. Resolution 10-2020, designating May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the observance of National Police Week from May 10th through May 16th in the Village of North Fond du Lac. Whereas Police Week's origins began on October 1st, 1962, when President John F. Kennedy signed Public Law 87-726, designating May 15th of each year as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which it falls as Police Week. And whereas in 1994, U.S. President William J. Clinton signed Public Law 103-322, directing that the flag of the United States be flown at half-staff on all government buildings on May 15th. And whereas in 1998, the Village Board of North Fond du Lac passed Resolution 27-98, establishing the annual recognition of National Peace Officers Memorial Day and National Police Week as an annual event. And whereas it is appropriate that we take time each year to honor our law enforcement professionals, understanding the police work is inherently dangerous, recognizing that on average more than 58,000 law enforcement officers are assaulted each year, and that one law enforcement officer is killed in the line of duty somewhere in the United States every 54 hours. And whereas, since the first recorded death in 1971, more than 22,000 U.S. law enforcement officers have made the ultimate sacrifice, and so far in 2020, 56 U.S. police officers, sheriffs, park rangers, correctional officers, immigration, custom agents, and U.S. marshals have died in the line of duty. And whereas, with deep sadness, the Fond du Lac community will forever feel the loss of Fond du Lac police officer Craig Burkholz, who was fatally shot on March 20th, 2011, and Wisconsin State Trooper Trevor Casper, who laid down his life to protect our community on March 24th, 2015. Therefore, the Village of North Fond du Lac President and Board of Trustees do hereby declare May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the observance of National Police Week from May 10th through May 16th in the Village of North Fond du Lac, and the observance will include the following. Flags are to be flown at half-staff on May 15th. The official flag of the National Law Enforcement Memorial is to be flown at the municipal building all week, and all uniformed police department personnel are to wear a black mourning band across the uniform badge during National Police Week in remembrance of the officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Resolved this 4th day of May 2020. What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution R10, 2020, a resolution designated National Peace Officer Memorial Day and National Police Week in the Village of North Fond du Lac.
Can I get a second? Got a motion by Horning, second by Duffy, to approve Resolution 10-2020. Are there any questions or comments on this resolution? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Ordinances. Discussion and possible action on ordinance 2020-05, an ordinance amending section 14.03 of the village ordinances of the Village of North Fond du Lac Public Health, second reading. Did anybody have any comments or questions on this one? You had the ordinance in your packet.
I just got one question.
Yeah, Mike?
Go down to like 14.03, the penalties, the juveniles from 12 to 13. Why isn't like they're just 13 and under? I mean,
I'm assuming that there's a reason for that. I'm assuming maybe 11-year-old's not considered, I don't know. I would have to, I can assure you that this wasn't written here. It was, I did ask about the penalties. I explained that last week about the difference in penalties. I don't know what happens to the the juveniles under 12 years. I don't
I
know.
just got curious about that.
There must be something in the laws related to that.
Must be
I'm
treated
assuming.
different or something. Okay, just wonder if you knew. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions, comments on this item? What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance O 2020-05, an ordinance amending section 14.03 of the village ordinances for the village of North Fond du Lac.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Got a motion by Price, got a second by Will to approve ordinance 2020-05. Can I get a roll call, please?
Horning,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Streeter,
Yes.
Duffy,
Yes.
Will.
Yes.
All right. Moving down to communications. Anybody have any communications? Any unfinished business? Any new business? Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
Second.
A motion by Horn, second by Duff to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thanks, everybody, for coming.